before we move forward with the notes, let's talk about the homework. All right, you have two different excerpts there. All right, one from ancient Athens, and I told you the history behind it. All right, this is Pericles' funeral oration. All right, given, let's say 200 BC, roughly around that period. Below is the Gettysburg Address, November of 1863. All right, what similarities did you guys see between the two? Arnolfo, give me one.
That if it wasn't for their brave men, they wouldn't have found their home.
So both speeches.
They both that their homeland was found by men who knew their duty and had the courage to fill it.
Okay, so what's the subject of both speeches?
Honor.
Who are both men talking about?
The soldiers that gave their lives.
Soldiers who gave their lives. Okay, good. So both speeches are about, frankly, about dead soldiers. Okay? A group of soldiers in Athens who died during the Persian Wars, and a group of soldiers in the United States who died in the Civil War. All right? Now, what are the common themes that both men, Pericles and Lincoln, talk about in regards to these dead soldiers?
Is that a good example?
Give me a quote from the text that shows that both men want to use these soldiers as an example. Said, we should get watch business. What about before that? He worked at a train station. He worked for the railroads. All right, what we're covering today is the mining and the railroad operation. Okay, that's our first little section. Second is going to be Native Americans, because obviously with the railroad moving west, there are already people who live there. Right? And so this railroad and the settlers that live there are going to have a huge effect on Native Americans, the population that's already there. Your question, section focus question today. How was life in the West affected by migration of settlers? Graphic organizer. Look to these soldiers as an example. Jasmine.
Make them your examples and estimate courage to be freedom and freedom to be happiness. Not do not wait to nicely the war.
So we're about 3/4 of the way down on the Pericles paragraph where it says, make them your examples. And esteeming courage to be freedom, and freedom to be happiness. Okay, so we are using these soldiers as an example in regards to freedom, fighting and sacrificing themselves for freedom. What about Lincoln? Arnolfo.
I think it's in the end. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, while they can never forget what they did here.
What they did here, but how about using them as an example, though? We're not going to forget what they did here, but why not? Why shouldn't we forget it?
Because they sacrificed themselves to save the rest of their country.
So the example that they're setting in both speeches involves sacrifice. Sacrifice, not just sacrifice, but sacrifice for your country. For Pericles, it's Athens. For Abraham Lincoln, it's the United States. All right, but both men have the same theme to their speech. We have these departed soldiers. We have this great example of the sacrifice that they made. Okay? For Lincoln, we can also look at that last part of his speech, the very, very last paragraph. Okay? That from these honored dead we take increased devotion. Because these men, these honored dead, sacrificed themselves for their country, we should increase our devotion to that country.